Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. New 67 Highboy on the trailer today. This was a total surprise buy. I didn't even have the camera with me when I picked this thing up. I'm going to fill you guys in on the whole story, so stick around. You're not going to miss this. Let's go dig into it. Well, it's the morning here at the shop. Got another Highboy on the trailer. This one's a 67, and if you guys are followers of the channel, you know I love a 67. This one is a little bit rough, but you know, Highboys are kind of like crew cabs. You take them in any condition, dead or alive, as some other YouTubers would say. But you know, it's a Highboy, so had to bring it home. It's a Highboy with a title. That's even better because you got a title for the frame. This one's a flatbed truck. Obviously, it was an old Kansas farm truck for pretty much most of its life, I think. It's got the small hub axle on it, which is a lot more common, especially in 68. That big hub axle didn't become on the actual option list until 71, I think. You could special order one, and all the four-wheel drive crew cabs had the big axle, but most of the early trucks had this small axle here. It has actually really nice cab mounts, as you can see there, but it's got some rust in other places back here in the back of the cab, and the floors. It's got holes in the floors, but I mean it's not terrible. Has the springs have been replaced. Atlas spring there in Wichita. That's actually who made the springs for Dad's crew cab Highboy we're building. One thing I really liked about this truck was it had the medium green interior trim with Wimbledon white paint. I think that interior, that green dash pad, green steering wheel, and even a green vent down here, I thought that was pretty cool. The seat would have been green as well, so seat's been replaced or recovered at some point. It has the I've never actually seen one of these, but it has the sticker, the four-wheel drive sticker on it, and I'll show you a little bit later. I have a 69 manual in there, and this graphic is in the manual, owner's manual. And the 4-wheel high, see how that truck's climbing an incline, and the 4 low, he's like flat. On the manual, that's different. The one climbing an incline's up here on 4 low, which makes more sense to me. But I just thought that was interesting. Neat to see that sticker. I'm going to try to get a good scan of this and see if I can get some reproduced for my Highboy builds. I'm not sure when. If all the years had that, so that's just early. But anyway, here's the Highboy gauge bezel with the white instead of the gray. You know, Highboy handles, Highboy window crank. Not Highboy, 67 handles, 67 window crank, 67 wing window latch. We're missing our 67 hook, but we have 67 mirror. So a lot of the 67 stuff's here. There's an aftermarket radio in there, so hopefully the tabs aren't cut off, but we will see. We have the knobs there, deluxe heater, cool stuff. So we have VIN tag here, F26, and you know that means Highboy, 6,800 pound GVW. M was Wimbledon white, 456 gears. 67 Highboys all had 456 gears. It's open diff. A is new process transmission, and 53 is a Kansas City ordering district, which makes sense because I think this was a Kansas truck all its life. The story, how I ended up with this thing, on the intro I said it was a surprise. Well, I actually went to buy this bed. So the 69 Highboy I'm restoring currently came with the bed. But the bed had a lot of repair work on it that I didn't like. And this bed was for sale just about an hour and a half away from me. And it's a early bed here because it doesn't have the reflector light back here. So it's actually a 69, you can tell, because it has both of the reflectors there. So was going to just buy this bed, so I didn't even bring the camera because no sense bringing the camera just for a bed purchase. So pulled up at the guy's place to buy this bed, and this truck was sitting here. I thought, oh, there's a Highboy. So I got talking to him about the Highboy, 67 Highboy, and yeah, they'd sell it. So they had some other trucks there, and we're looking at all the other trucks, and ended up making a deal for this one, and we traded some parts for the bed. So they're gonna come get some parts here, and we made a deal on the bed, and I got to bring this Highboy home. So it was a good day. It's always neat to have a surprise like this and get a Highboy when you're just expecting to get a bed. Has a set of Ford swing lock mirrors, the little 2-post mirrors. It has a 390 in it, and part of the deal was I have to pull the engine, and they get to take the engine home because they had bought the truck just for the engine. So I got to pull the engine, and they got to come get. They're actually getting that short bed there for a crew cab they picked up. So that's cool. That short bed's getting to put on a crew cab, and they got this engine for another Highboy they're working on. So they got to come down, pick that bed up, and they'll get this engine here. This truck had a hydraulic system on it. There's an engine-driven pump there, and it had a arm bed for round bales on the back because it was an old farm truck. Had a tow bar up here. Somebody yanked the front cross member with a chain. That's pretty common. The 67 only steel grill is pretty beat up, but overall the frame is what matters, and the frame is all in good shape, I think. So that's awesome. I'm gonna get this thing off the trailer and do some more digging on it, and I'll show you all the cool bits and pieces of this truck like I normally do. So I'm gonna get it off the trailer, and we'll meet you back whenever I have it off. Well, I'm getting this truck ready to get off the trailer here and doing some digging on it. I thought I would show you some stuff I've found. First off, we're missing the Highboy blocks back here. It should have a 4-inch block with a tang to hit the bump stop, but looks like somebody put some massive leaf packs in here, like some 1-ton leaf packs. So they have these massive leaf packs plus a little 1-inch block down there. So unfortunately missing the Highboy block, but I have several in stock, so not a big deal. The back of the bed was welded on the frame, unfortunately, but you know, that's kind of pretty common with these things. Big old hunk of metal welded across the frame there. That was the main thing here in the back. It does have the, I guess these wheels are the factory wheels. The dish is a little bit different on them. There's no lip out here for a hubcap, and split rim wheels, obviously, but my dad told me these were the original 67 wheels. He has an old 67 Highboy, and he said that's what it came with, so that was pretty cool. I don't know what these threaded holes are. This is the only wheel that has these threaded holes, and it has a couple of bolts that are torched off in it. I don't know what that was for, but threaded holes on. Well, moving on to the rest of the stuff I found. I'm not sure if these were the original lockout hubs for these. Not too familiar with the small hub axles. The big hub axles in 67 did have a cast, like a cast aluminum piece with a knob similar to this. But I'll have to do some research on these lockout hubs and see if these were the original lockout hubs. So that would be pretty neat if they were. The brakes work on this thing, and that brake line there has been replaced. So I think the brakes have been worked on recently. The Highboy oil pan is intact and in there and looks in good shape. And I get to keep the oil pan when I pull the engine, so that is good because they're kind of hard to find. I actually need one for the 69 I'm working on. Like I said, cab mounts are pretty good. The grill is pretty beat up, sadly. That 67 1-year only grill. Over here, here's a shot of the other cab mount. Pretty good shape. But the rest of the cab is, see, there's some rot in the floor. That support brace is good. Cab corners there, rotted out. The rockers are good. There's the outboard cab mount for the Highboy. The Dana 24 transfer case. It does have some slop. You have to watch these Danas. They get slop in here. And usually it's the shaft that wears out in our experience. That one's not bad. Yeah, this one's got a lot. From our experience, it's the shaft that wears out, and these shafts are pretty expensive, and you got to rebuild the whole thing. But it's all there. We have the shifter and shifter linkage. That's all nice to see. There's a better shot at the oil pan. But I was just doing a little bit of digging and saw that stuff and thought I would show it to you while we got it on the trailer. But I'm gonna get this thing off the trailer and we'll dig into it even more. Well, I got the truck off the trailer, pulled up here under the shop here. Doing a little bit of digging on this thing. I looked up these lockout hubs, or tried to look them up. I didn't find anything. Didn't find anything about them, so I'm gonna have to do some more digging. I don't know if these are the factory ones or not. If this is what the light duty axle in '67 came with. I know what the heavy duty ones would look like. They're kind of a cast unit, but not sure about the light duty ones. These appear to be locked up, so I'm going to have to see if I can get that apart and get that freed up. One thing I did notice, the other light duty axle I have has 6 of these bolts, and there's only 3 on this one. But who knows if these are just some aftermarket one or what. But if you know, let me know in the comments below if you have these on your truck or you know anything about these hubs. But move on to some other things I found. This truck has the hand parking brake lever instead of the foot pedal here. So it has this little rubber grommet where the factory, or the cable for the pedal parking brake cable would go through. And it has this arm one here, which I did a little bit of research on this. I think this is what 67 Highboys would have. Not quite sure. Our other 67 Highboy we have here does not have this, but it doesn't have the other one either. So that could have been taken off at some point. Didn't have working parking brakes. One neat thing is this right here, this sticker. This is a 69 manual I got for one of my 69 trucks to include with. And in the 4-wheel drive section of the manual, it has that same pattern, kind of it. But right here on 4 high, the truck is going flat, and on 4 low, the truck is up at an angle, which kind of makes sense. But up here on this sticker, the 4 high is up at an angle, and the 4 low is going straight. So that is kind of interesting that the graphics don't match between this sticker here and this manual here. Just thought that was a oddity here, that things didn't match up. But nothing too crazy here. I got the glove box open. It was full of a bunch of rat nests, so nothing special there. We don't have anything to show you around here. The engine, did a little looking on the engine. It has C8 AE heads, and has a C7 intake. So I believe it has the 67 intake, but it has 68 heads, which is pretty common, 360, 390 heads. And the engine block is really greasy, but the heads are not. So I don't know what was going on with this engine. It was sold to that guy as a 390. It's got a 390 air cleaner lid on it. And but I guess I'm pulling this out and he's taking it. But just thought that was interesting that there's some mix match of parts in this thing. I have to pull the oil pan off of this when I get the engine out, so I guess we'll be able to look at the crank and see what the crank is. It has the really small dampener pulley like 67s have, but that might have been to make the pulley for the hydraulic pump work. Since it has that add-on pulley for the hydraulic pump, they might have had to change dampeners to get it to work with that other pulley extension if they changed engines. So still unsure about that. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing really crazy special about this truck. Just an old Highboy. Frame's all in good shape. But I did order a Martyr report on it just because of the color, and 67 Highboys are a little bit rare. I'm not sure if this was a bed delete truck, a step side truck, or a style side truck. On style size, they only made 3,800 in 67 Highboys, and step size only like 970. So 67 Highboys are a little bit rarer than the others. So I went ahead and ordered a Marty report just so we can see the numbers on it. So Hopefully by the end of this episode, I'll have that. So stick around and I'll go over the Marty report with it over this truck. But for now, I'm going to work on pulling this engine, and we'll get this engine pulled out of here. And then we'll take a look at that Marty report. So let's get after it. Well, I think I have everything unhooked to get this engine pulled. I have the carburetor off of it so I can put the lift plate on it. I have the throttle linkages and all unhooked, exhaust unhooked, motor mounts unhooked, starters out of it. 3 of the 4 bell housing bolts are off of it. I'll pick the engine up and then we'll do the last one there. And got the Z-bar out for the clutch. Yeah, pretty much everything. I probably forgot some stuff, but so I have got the fuel line off. So yeah, I think we're just about ready to pull this engine. So I'm gonna use the forklift, and I think we're gonna have to pull the hood off, probably, be safe. Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull the hood off for sure. And once I get this hood off of here, we'll be able to yank this out with the forklift. Well, got the engine out here, and getting the Highboy oil pan off. I got to pull the pickup off too, because the pickup and this bolt with a stud on the end of it that goes to the main cap, that is unique to the Highboy oil pan, so you got to grab that too. But I was doing some digging on this engine, because if you remember, I made the deal with this truck without the engine, because this guy was sold to have a good 390 in it, and he needed the engine for another Highboy he's working on. So we made the deal as he gets the engine, I get the truck if I pull the engine. So I was doing some looking and making sure it's a 390, because, you know, if you've heard me say before, they always have 390s in them when you're selling them. And you know, if an old Ford FE, you can't tell on the exterior what it is or not, and you got to read the numbers on the crank. Well, I had the oil pan off of here and was reading the numbers on the crank, and it has a part number on the crank, which for one isn't good. C4AE-A, which comes back as a 352, which is what this truck should have in it from the factory, which I was suspecting that, because see how grimy and greasy all this is. This engine has been in here for a long time. The heads have been off because the heads are all cleanish. The manifolds, probably fixed the exhaust leaks on the manifolds. Intake's clean, but the intake has a C7 part number, which is 67. Has a 67 harmonic dampener here. Has a 67 filler neck, thermostat housing. Geez, I can't say the right word. 67 thermostat housing. So all things were pointing towards 352, and the part number on the crank puts a nail in the coffin. It's 352, not a 390. And the old adage rings true that they always have a 390 in them when you're selling, even if they don't. But anyway, we just joke around with that because everybody always says they're a 390, when for one, there was never a 390 in Highboy, and two, there's no way to prove it. So, you know, they all have a 390. But anyway, this is the first one I've actually bought that was supposed to have a 390 on it, and it doesn't, which is kind of funny. But it's neat that it's the original engine, because when I restore this truck, I want to put a 352 back in it, you know, so it's all original. I don't know if I want this one. This one is pretty tired. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. I can do it with two hands, I know for sure, but nope, can't do it with one hand. But if I put two hands on that crank pulley there, you can spin the motor over. The part number is on the crank. Probably not gonna be able to see it. Yeah, it's on this crank somewhere, or this throw right here. But C4AE-A 352. So I have to contact the owner and see what he thinks, what he wants to do. I have a 360 I could give him in exchange for this one. I don't really have any attachment to this engine, because for one, Fords don't have numbers matching engines or anything like that. There's no numbers on them that lead it to an engine. And two, this one's probably completely shot. So, and I can't even contact the guy because all of Facebook is down, and Facebook Marketplace and Messenger is how I've been contacting the guy. So I can't even contact him. But hopefully that all gets fixed, and I'll get a hold of him, and we'll have a plan and see what he wants to do from there. But anyway, just had to show you this. Well, guys, next morning here, I did get the Marty report, but I got a little late. So, but I got it, and some pretty cool numbers here. Let's go through the ones that matter, the statistics. 1135 with this paint code, which is pretty common. Wimbledon white's pretty common color. In fact, my other 67, it's not a Highboy, but my 67 Ultimate Highboy that was a F100 is Wimbledon white as well. Pretty common color. But right here, 20 with these paint and trim codes. So that right there is pretty cool. I knew it was going to be pretty low because this is kind of an oddball combination, I think. But 20 is pretty cool. So that's with Wimbledon white with this medium green interior color. So that's pretty neat. I'm a real big fan of this. I like that. It's a lot different. Most of them are red. Like my Ultimate Highboy truck was originally red dash pad, red steering column, and red armrest. One neat thing that while we're talking about armrest, this was only ordered with left-hand armrest. So in 67, you could either get no armrest, both armrest, or just one. And see, there's holes here, right here. It had the armrest over here, and there's not holes on that one. So there's no armrest over there. So sorry about your passenger. They don't get the rest of their arm. But it's pretty unique that this one has the one armrest. 5700 with these engine transmission codes. That's not very low numbers or anything. Ordered, was that 157? And then the special statistic that he does is 617 with left and right hand chrome western mirrors, which are these. Which I don't know if you could order. I guess since it says left and right hand in 67, you could order just one, just like the armrest. You can order just one mirror, I guess. But this one has both. See, left hand armrest, 750/16 tires, extra cooling radiator, deluxe fresh air heater, which is the three knobs right here. That has the deluxe heater. The economy heater just had one knob down here that you pulled for heat and twisted for the speed. If you want to know more on that stuff, look on my What Makes a 67 special video, and I go over all that in a lot more detail and show you both. Manual AM radio, which is gone. It's got an aftermarket unit in there, which is unfortunate because 67s are hard to find. Tinted windshield, which I don't know if this is the original. It should say car light in the middle there. I don't see it. This might be an aftermarket windshield, which makes sense. Oh yeah, there's the aftermarket logo over there. So this aftermarket windshield, not the original, which kind of, you know, this kind of makes sense. An old work truck's probably not going to have the original windshield still. Amp meter oil pressure gauges, it's just the gauges up there. Free running front hubs, and while we're talking about this, a viewer actually messaged me on Instagram. I had some pictures on Instagram, Cubic Motorsports, and he has a 67 that's all original, and it has these lockout hubs. So I think these are the original lockout hubs for 67 with a light duty axle. So that's pretty cool. They are locked up though, so I'm going to be careful and try to get this apart and get it cleaned up and see if I can get them working. I don't want to try to put a set of pliers on there. That's what I do if there's no farm truck, but I want to try to save those. So I'm going to take those apart and clean them and see if I can get them freed up. The free running hub, cigar lighter, which the knob's gone, but see, left and right hand chrome mirrors, I already talked about those. Heavy 55 amp battery, auxiliary rear springs, and heavy duty rear springs. But I don't think that's these, because I think it should have a block. But it did have overloads. The overloads could be original. See, it has the overload perches on the frame. They're riveted on, so that's the factory option there. So that could be the original overloads with just a big spring pack. They might have put that bigger spring pack on it because they were putting round bells on the back of this truck, because, you know, it has that hydraulic kit. It might have been sagging down a little bit, but yeah, that's it. Syracuse, Kansas, way out in western Kansas on Highway 50, I believe. Way out there, almost Colorado, which is, I was kind of expecting to be closer to Wichita where this truck was, but I guess it did some moving around, but it is Wichita. 456 gears, that's all 67s, built in Kansas City. It does have it's a special, since it has a 6-number digit right here, this right here. The first number is the DSO code, and the last 4 are the special order code. I don't know what the special order is, but it was under paint or tire order number 1208. So it's not a special. Usually when you have a special order number, it's because of special paint. This isn't a special paint, it's a factory paint color. And it just says 750/16 tires. I don't know if it had special tires. They ordered it with some special tire they wanted, or something of that nature. I'm guessing that would be because it's paint or tires, so I'm guessing it has to be tires since it's not paint. But that's the Marty report on this one. I love getting these things and getting to see the numbers on it and all of that. I really appreciate Marty for all he does and all the keeping all the records. And yeah, I think that's all we got for this episode on this truck. We got the engine pulled out of it and saved another one. Well, somebody else, I guess they saved it, and then they pawned it off to me so I can save it further, I guess. Plans on this truck, it's going to be sitting around until I get some of the other ones done. It's kind of like my other 72 Highboy over there. It's just sitting around waiting for its time to get pulled in the shop. But since this body is so rough, you know, dents and dings all over it, I think we're going to do a complete body swap on this one, try to find a good 67 to swap it over with so I get a bed and cab and maybe a good running 352, something of that nature, rebuild the frame, and we'll go from that. And that's going to be the plan for this one, but it'll be further on down the road. You know, I got lots of stuff going on right now, so at least we got some inventory to work with here. But that's all I got for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. Hit the like button if you like this kind of video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.